A warm welcome from the Alumni Relations Committee.
And we are back with another episode of Alum Reels, an innovative initiation from the Symbiosis Center for Information Technology. This is Anusha.
And this is Vishwada. We are here with an empowering, inspirational, and forward-thinking conversation to help you learn, develop, and discover the techno managerial world that you've all been waiting to dive into.
It is the Alum Reels where all your questions are answered and all your doubts are cleared. Very rightly said, there are no shortcuts to any place worth going.
So, if you wish to rule, if you want to rise, learning is the ultimate key.
And we are here to take you on the right path with the leaders of the industry. It will be the right choice to gain more expertise from our very own alumni who are enthralling industries with their immense knowledge.
And as promised, we do not fail to surprise you by welcoming our esteemed alumni, the pride badges of Symbiosis Center for Information Technology, Pune. No more waiting.
So, brace yourself for another episode of Alum Reels, where knowledge envisions wisdom. And now, here we take honor of inviting our prominent guest, Mr. Saurav Jha from the batch of 2006-8, who is now excelling in his profession as analytics leader in a Fortune 500 company. It's no surprise to know that his passion for technology and management has made a perfect blend of a techno-managerial person, which is highly inspirational for all of us.
His mastery in data analytics, operational leadership, project management, information management, and marketing capabilities clearly speaks about the thirst for success-driven life, which sets a great example for aspiring future managers like us. And we would like to thank Saurav sir for taking out time and guiding us. Thank you, sir.
We will not keep you waiting any longer, sir. The SCIT Alumni Relations Committee welcomes you to the new episode of Alum Reels.
And we feel very privileged sharing the stage with a walking techno-managerial scholar like you.
First of all, thank you for having me. I know you guys spend a lot of time, making sure that this happens, and it's my privilege to talk to you. And happy to be back with students who are currently in SCIT.
The privilege is all ours, sir. Along with the audience, we are excited at the same level to listen to your wise words. Also, I hope you are enjoying the moment of taking pride as a SCIT alumni. So, sir, would you like to share a memory of yours from Symbiosis with us?
Okay, so the sweetest memory I have is that I did a lot of hosting of shows like you guys when I was in SCIT. We used to have something called Pratidhwani, which is where we, at that moment of time, trying to welcome alumni and then showcase the talent. So it was fun hosting it and getting things together. We had a batch of, very, very enthusiastic, people who were ready to, deliver on anything, be it organizing guest lectures in a short time or preparing stuff for visits. And we used to have the guest lectures on a very short notice. So you require a lot of preparation. So it was great to be there, and part of organizing all that was tiring, fun, and sometimes pressure. I would say it's a moment of pressure at that time, but those are sweet memories now.
Absolutely, sir. When you were telling that you're the member of, placement team and as well the guest lecture, we were wondering, wow, it's so much fun, creative, as well challenging, isn't it, sir?
Yes, totally.
Yeah. So, sir, we would like to hear more from you. And here we are having some interesting questions from the current batch students, which are eagerly waiting to get answered.
Yeah.
So, sir, before starting, I have some data point to say, which is something informative and a little fun as well. We all know that data is the new oil and it grounds the fact. But sir, can you believe that last year there were around 2 trillion photos which were taken, out of which billions and billions were shared online? And that would definitely need a complete managing capacity of data engineers. So this brings me to the question, one of the students who asked, saying that given this broad role that a data analyst plays, what can we as a students do to understand and be industry ready when we start working in a professional capacity?
Right. So, this question, I'll think about this way, right? Now, somebody who's in the data field is broadly working on three main things that I'm thinking of. One is a person is aspiring to become a data engineer or maybe a data analyst or a data scientist. And they actually map into work streams like, which is solving unstructured problem like modeling through algorithms. And then the second one would be building a lot of reporting insights and analyzing trends and visualizing them to present and explain to people. The third, I would say, is about having the data in place itself where people can actually consume data, democratize data for the non-data analytics background people and also for the data analytics team as well, right? So I think that's how I see these things. Now, I think from a preparation perspective, I was going through the curriculum that you have right now. I think you have the subjects in the data science stream good enough for you to be prepared from a foundational perspective. And I think you just need to go deeper in it. And I can name the courses that I like. You have machine learning there, you have deep learning there, you have business statistics, very important. Then you have functional domains like what happens in HR, operational analytics, etc. So I think these are subjects that you need to learn well. Along with that, when you want to prepare yourself for real world, is try to get some projects in your belt to understand and go a little deeper. So that's how it is. And in couple with that, with the current trends, one current trend you pointed about it, what's happening in social media. Other current trends is how people are pivoting their work environment itself. People are more virtual and need to collaborate on a virtual. So I think those trends needs to be kept up and learn the basics that you have.
Thank you, sir. That was very insightful. Coming to the next question, Gartner Report 2020 states that pre-COVID models which are based on historical data are not valid anymore. And AI techniques like reinforcement learning, augmented management might rule the domain. Noting these paths, how has the field of data science evolved over time and what major changes do you see post-COVID-19?
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of the, all the models that you build, if you think about it, they rely on historical data. If you want to look at data for a pandemic, it's going to be 100 years back in 1918 when you had the 16 to 18, you had the Spanish flu. Clearly, you are in an environment which has no historical evidence in place for our models to run or predict anything what's going to happen. So you are in uncharted terrain. So what it means is that a lot of it needs to be done during this time and pivot to newer strategies. And I think businesses are trying to do that, and that's going to continue be happening. It's not about COVID and not COVID. As things change, evolve, we need to continuously train our models or build new things to cater to the new changing environment. But COVID-19 obviously has thrown a certain challenge where a lot of what was in place needed to be relooked at. And maybe what I would say, this will be a time when we'll have learnings in place. Hopefully things like these don't happen and it's a once a century thing, but at least learnings will be there for us to go back to and understand how we can respond better as a company and as a world itself to situations like these.
Agreed, sir. Sir, so as you were telling about the COVID, I remember this point, like in tuberculosis, the mortality rate is 2.4 and COVID has the mortality rate of 2.6. So I feel somewhere, the pandemic hype is actually increasing, and that's where we are all in a different world altogether. So for now, I just wanted to keep this pandemic thing aside, and I have some puzzle joke for you, sir. So there are two young boys named Tinto and Montu. They are very young who love traveling a lot. So one day, Tinto asked, why do you need a data scientist while you're walking in a jungle? Montu, of course, has an answer, but sir, give it a shot. What do you think? Why do you think a data scientist is required when you're going in a jungle?
Okay, I don't know if the answer is good. Based on past historical data, I would be able to understand which route is safe, and I would have least chance of getting, caught by a wild animal, and I can take the safest route. That's my answer.
Sir, you prove to be a technical expert, sir, but we are trying to make it in a lighter note. Okay, I'll tell you the answer. Okay, why do actually we need a data scientist to go into a jungle? That's because only data scientists can solve Python problems. You got me, sir?
I got it. Okay.
So yeah, taking in this lighter
I'll be more
note.
data scientist and say your assumption. I'll be more data scientist in this, and then they say your assumption is that the jungle only has Python, and that's why you're assuming that the data scientist can solve the problem. That's an assumption.
Oh my god. Okay. I have nothing to say now. So as this is very fun, yet still the fact as you're telling, I have a question coming out in this lighter note. So for a fresher in this field like Montu, what kind of projects do you suggest one should take up to get hired into this esteemed companies like American Express, RBS or Amazon? Is it always about Python programming, or the fact is it like only about coding?
Right. I think when people like to hire from campus, they are looking for people who are enthusiastic about what they are getting into, right? I think that's number one, because they know they're going to have people who are fresher or maybe lesser experienced. And so as in this field, I would like to look for more evidence. So I'm sounding very scientific, but how do you give evidence to your interviews to say that you really want to get into something? You have the subjects to back your side, that you have the skill set that's already sorted. So what is the incremental that you have done along with your studies that can show that you're interested? Do you know more about the company? Do you understand complex problems that the industry is facing? Do you have any thought process that can excite them that you can go about solving it? Have you tried something on your own to do it? The other important aspect is the coding that you touched upon. Definitely in our field, it is very important that you are good coders, right? And writing optimized codes are important. All these are important. So I think when I give you this guidance, I'm assuming that you are actually solving for that in your education, and you're making sure that your fundamentals on all the data science programming language like Python you're good at it, right? And I think that's what you need to do. Make sure that you give enough evidences when you're getting into companies like them, show interest. One simple tip I will give you is that instead of preparing for companies going into interviews, you should actually do something like an ongoing process. So if you have a target company, XYZ, right? You go to LinkedIn, add the company and follow the company. What will happen is you'll keep on getting updates on what the company is doing. So you're actually in a way aware of it before you actually get to those interviews. So you'll understand what type of problems they are trying to solve for in real world. And connecting work and real world, I would say all your analytical work to real world is extremely important. And that's something that people really look forward to, because writing an efficient code is one side of it, but solving a real life problem is another.
Thank you, sir. That was really very informative. Now, I have another joke for you. So
I won't spoil it. I'm so sorry, it's recording.
When Tintu asked, what does data analyst actually do? Montu says, data analysis is 80% preparing data and 20% complaining about how you prepare it. Jokes apart, what are the broad areas where analytics can be consumed by a bank? And will the focus always be on data preparation alone?
So first of all, I want to demystify the fact that what data analyst is. I think that needs to be re-looked at. I think from my perspective, to level set the understanding, a data analyst would be someone who's not only preparing the data, but actually creating a story out of that data, presenting trends, insights that can help drive strategic decisions and also enable ongoing decisions. So I think those two aspects are very important for a data analyst. And you can crib about any job in the world, why data analyst, but the idea is to be excited to the fact that you are able to influence strategy, and I think that's important in any role. So that's how I would say data analyst. Okay, so now in terms of what happens in a company, in a financial company, there are multiple functions, and in a financial company, analytics is applied pretty much everywhere. right? So it can be a fraud function, risk function, it can be marketing, sales, HR. Anywhere you go, there is a different dimension of analytics being used. And obviously, if you get into functions like these, your work will change. But what will not change is still going to be analyzing data, figuring out patterns, coming out with insights that help you make decisions. This is going to be fundamental across where you go. But again, to the point, this is very widely used in every function.
Right. So as per the talk till we had, I can get to the inference that a domain knowledge with a decision-making mentality and a coding is all that, very much important in this field. So yeah, it is really informative. Before diving into the next question, sir, there is a famous data science blogger, Jishan Ushman, who states that at least there are 50 data science degree programs worldwide which are offering diplomas in this discipline. And it costs around like $50,000 to $270,000 in completing the course. So, coming back to our questions, are there any certifications you would suggest for an aspiring data analyst to take up? If so, what level of importance you see for this certifications, especially in the field of data science?
Right. So I think people who are in the data science stream, right, they already have the subjects that needs to be there from getting into this field. So I don't know how much of incremental benefit will happen if you do all these courses from Microsoft, from SAS. There are a lot of companies who are giving certification for certifying you as data scientist. I don't know how much benefit they would have. If somebody is in a field which has less of those data science subjects, right? Maybe taking IT business management, assuming again that you have lesser subjects related to data science there. I think for someone like that who wants to show interest in that field and wants to get into that field, doing that course would be helpful because you'll definitely learn something new. So I think from their perspective, it's fine. But going into an interview table with an additional certification, I don't know if it's going to be like making a huge difference given the fact you're doing a full-fledged course and you'll be learning more of the same. So that's how I see about certification. What I would say though is that you should complement it with something like a CFA, right? Something like which really adds to your whole suite of skills, which is a different angle to it. Doing some financial courses, what I feel will benefit more rather than doing more of the same.
Thank you for that answer, sir. I'm sure every student has faced this dilemma about certifications once in their life. Coming to the next question. In general, students many times mix up the roles of a data engineer, a data scientist, a decision scientist, and a data analyst. Can you please lighten us to understand which path can be chosen by whom?
Right. So I think this is based on your preference. First, the need is to understand the difference between the three. And this is how I understand it. And as I say, I'm not an expert, but this is my view. A data engineer is somebody who's actually enabling data for the company, which is like collecting the data, making sure the data is available in the right way, the right format, so it can be consumed. There's a lot of work that goes into make sure that the sources are right. You test the data in terms of fill rate. There's a lot of things that needs to be done, making sure that data is available for the enterprise to use, right? So that's how I would say a data engineer, how the data is going to store, the architecture, etc., right? So that's data engineer. Second is, I said data analyst, I already defined for you, which is somebody analyzing, a lot of information, trends, etc., and making conclusions. A data scientist is the one who solves complex problems and writes algorithms and models. Now, between a data analyst and a data scientist, it's not the skill set, it's what you do and what interests you. So I would say data scientist is more technical in nature. So depending on how you want to go, that you want to really be into solving, writing optimized codes, and you're trying to solve complex problems, you love writing algorithm, modeling, etc., then you should aspire to be data scientist. For me, I'm mostly in the middle, and I like data analyst type of role where I'm actually doing a lot of A/B testing, trying to understand what's the impact of a treatment or a campaign that's gone out, and understanding what we can analyze to advise our partners in terms of making more informed decisions when we do new strategies, etc. So I think that's where it is. So why I told you this is that to give you a flavor of what the job entails, so you can make the best selection, because this is all based on personal preferences, right? And none of them, I would say, is bad or good, because all of them lead to a different path and have their own merits.
Right, sir. I think this gave a little clarity for us, in diving into different disciplines. Like, I myself sometimes get confused when we have to prepare a resume. It's like, we are looking for a job in a data analyst, but we have all the machine learning, deep learning, all algorithms at one stretch, and it will be open for even a decision scientist or, and other side of a data scientist as well. So I think that this gave a little clarity on how to go ahead. So, as we had a very good joke time, I just wanted to share one article from Times of India. That is, Times of India states that by 2025, data science analytics sector in India is going to be estimated reaching $16 billion. But we know that the ball is out of court because of the pandemic footsteps. Anyhow, coming back to the question, considering this present situation, sir, analytics is implemented in every industry, be it e-commerce, fashion, service-based, health. So what is the scope of marketing analytics in these industries, and how is their job role different with data analysts working today?
Right. So honestly, this is a little confusing question for me, and I'll tell you why. Marketing is a function that exists in all the companies. I mean, I would hard to imagine a function or a company which is not trying to do marketing, right? So it's really embedded in all of them. And the job of a marketing analyst, again, I would say, evolve as things progress. And what is important is to help understand the definition of marketing analyst itself. If you, by marketing analyst, you mean somebody who is actually a marketer and has lesser technical experience, but more is on the business side. How is their function going to evolve? Then the way I see this going is that as you progress, everyone will have to have a good understanding of data, right? You can't escape it. Especially in the field of marketing or any field of field now, you're all trying to use a lot of data and try to get patterns and make decisions out of it. So your ability to absorb a lot of data, make sense out of it, and do decisions is very important, and it gets embedded into all the functions that you just talked about. So I think that's something that's going to continue well into going forward, and all these companies will have people who are actually marketers, who are actually data analysts in a way, because they are understanding. And I think it will be hard to distinct in the future if somebody is doing analytics or somebody is in marketing, because both will have like similar subjects or an understanding of data. I think the differentiation will be stark between a data scientist more than the others, because data scientists, again, which I'm saying is more on the sides of algorithm and model building. While to a certain extent, I do see a future of this getting democratized, but still it will be very specialized in the sense that there will be more complex problem to solve, and there's no end to complex problems.
No, sir, I think this gave a little clarity to us. So we wanted to know, because we also have some electives that are, related with the marketing analytics profile. So that's where some of the students
Can you
have
tell me the
pointed this
electives?
question.
Can you tell me the electives? What are the
We
electives,
have the
Steven?
direct elective as market. We have the direct elective as marketing analytics, and we have one subject as marketing management. So even in the marketing analytics, we do use Python programming and coding, a half part to be precise, like taking a case study and doing it. So that's why some of the questions from the students have come this way.
Yeah, market analytics is a good subject. It's an evergreen one. If you want to pick up as an elective, is the right one to pick up. That's how I would say it. A simple answer.
Thank you, sir. So we have been talking about the domain of data science up till now. The next question is directly from the students, where they want to ask about how they should prepare for the interviews. So often, most people have no prior experience in the field of data science, and they face challenges during
Mhm.
interviews. So how do you think they should make their profile stronger, and what kind of preparation they should focus on before the big day?
First is that when you have lesser experience, then you have to make it up with enthusiasm and show some evidence that makes you stand out, right? That's how I see it. So how would you do that? First is knowing more about the field itself in terms of the trends. There are a lot of people who write about evolving data science. What are the new things coming out in data science? So you can obviously show an interest in understanding them. Find out ways that you can maybe do a side project to show how you can apply some of them and what real business problem you can solve. See, it's not about you being right on how to solve it. It's about the thinking that people look for, right? If you have the head in the right place, I think you'll get there. Because when you go into a company, they will give you the real problem to solve, and you will understand the headwinds there, and then you will be able to solve it. So I think going into the interview, exhibiting that interest, and not a fake one, please, a real one, which says that genuine. And I understand that you might have an interest to fake it, but it's very easy to make out if someone is trying to give an answer and somebody knows the answer, right? So I think that's where the preparation needs to come along, and be genuine about what you know and don't know. I think what happens is in an interview, people fear the fact in saying, no, I don't know. I think you should be very upfront in saying what you know, what you don't know. As a person, I respect that. I'm coming into this also. I don't believe I'm an authority in data scientist, but what I know is what I know, and I will tell you. And what I don't know, I will tell you. And it's going to be very unfiltered, which you might have realized, and you might have talked to many people, but that's what's going to come out. And that's what you should do. Be genuine in the interview, right? People like genuine people.
Right, sir. I think following up to the answer which you have given, I think we can also tell about the projects which we have done in the data analysis or data sciences. So maybe that would also add as an experiential learning while interviews. Am I right, sir?
Yes. If you know what, the easiest test for me is that you explain your project to me and I ask you 3, 4 deep questions, and I will know that you have done it, how good you have done it. It does not take me more time for me to understand that you have done it well. So think about the interview as a smarter person who will be able to do that. So you should be prepared to answer at that level. Again, it's not about having the perfect answer, it's about having the right approach to the answer, which is important.
Right. We understand, sir. And I think this is one of the most awaited answers every student would be looking for
Okay.
because as we are seeing how the placements are coming through. So, sir, it's, yours has been a very long journey into the career of analytics, right from entering the CIT campus as a student and then as an eminent scholar to the very own day of being one of the best alumni. While parking the idea about ending the session in a while, sir, is there any advice or suggestion you would like to give to the new batch of SCIT who will be joining very soon? And of course, who will be watching this video?
Yes. If you're seeing this video, congratulations. You made it. You've made the right choice. You are in the place which is going to make you successful. That's the good news. What's not so good is that you still have a long way to go, which is learn the skills that will help you to make it forward. What is going to help you is a fantastic faculty and a loving and a caring one who is going to help you with it. But here's the thing, they will do the talk, but you'll have to do the walk. So make sure make sure you put in the right effort and enjoy the experience of being in Symbiosis. I hope you do this in the campus with all this COVID-19 and being out, and you get to make new friends, which will be there with you for a lifetime. Enjoy this experience to the fullest, but make sure that the your eye is on making sure that you develop your skills that make you successful. All the best. That's all I need to say.
Thank you for the advice, sir. I'm sure all the students will keep this in mind. We have now come to the end of our intellectual show. Thank you, sir, for answering all our questions and enlightening us with your wisdom.
Indeed, it was a wonderful and persuasive session with you, sir. We can't really thank you enough for your precious time and advice that you have shared with us.
Absolutely happy.
You have
Very
to,
happy to do this.
you have truly been influential in such a positive way that words aren't enough to express.
Thank you for guys for having me, and I'm happy to be part of anything that you want to do. Help you guys virtually, and if there's anything that I can make a difference from here. And all the best to you guys. You guys will have a fantastic career. You're in the right place.
As we have come to the end of the session, we would also like to thank our SCIT Director, Dhanya Ma'am, Alumni Relations Committee Head, Bharti Sir, Savita Ma'am, our academic coordinators, Alumni Relations Committee members, and most importantly, SCIT students for being part of this wonderful session.
Thank you, everyone. Hope you got the very right answers. Stay tuned and stay focused. We will be back with another episode very soon.